Hi, everyone. Welcome to, well, normally I call this the AWS Blogger, but as I'm changing my signature around, welcome to the Jon Myer Show, maybe? I don't know. But this is all about OBS Ninja version 18. And with me, I have Steve Seguin, the developer behind OBS Ninja. Steve, thanks for joining.
Hey, John, thanks for having me.
So, Steve, I noticed that you released version 18, and we have a lot to talk about. We're not going to get to all the stuff, but I have some cool things. As you know, this is our first recording since I left AWS, and now I'm with another company called Spot, and I'm just getting a feel for and changing my name around a little bit. I'm not required to change it, but I might want to go with my own persona. What do you think?
I love the idea. Absolutely love it. On that front, OBS Ninja is actually changing its name too. It's changing it to VDO Ninja.
Oh, wow. That was actually a perfect segue into that question. So I saw VDO Ninja. I actually saw that on the release notes and on the OBS website, it was highlighted yellow. I'm like, what is this yellow thing? What do you mean you're changing? Oh my God, I got so many questions. All right, let's lead with that. Can you tell us why we're changing it? What's your thoughts behind it? And, a little bit of backstory.
Yeah. One challenge is there sometimes could be confusion between what OBS Studio is and what OBS Ninja is. Many of the users these days are not even using OBS. They're vMix users or they're standalone users using it for conferencing. And so I wanted a name that was more agnostic and probably a little more, as you mentioned, a little more on brand for the personal product rather than for OBS.
Will the logo be changing at all?
That is something that might happen. I believe it will. It's going to be an ongoing process to fully change over the brand. There's so much content out there. It's taking some time to rebrand everything, but the logo will probably get changed. We don't really know what to yet, so we welcome feedback and ideas.
No problem. I have this awesome logo that a graphic designer built for me with the OBS one with lightning and everything coming out of it. So I'm going to have to figure out something. Like, I love the logo. Now I need to get something new, but no problem. I did notice that was one of our topics today with the version 18 release. Steve, I know we'd like to make these short. Let's just jump right into it. I have the release notes in front of me, and there's a couple of sections between the guest features, the director features, the electronic, and then you have miscellaneous. This is a lot to release all at once. Do you want to, anything you want to touch on? You want to jump right into the guest features, then the director?
Oh man, well I made a list of some of the features I was more excited about. There's a lot of boring things added. If you're an advanced user, there's probably lots of hidden features in there that are kind of cool. One of the hidden features might be the limit video bitrate option that's there now. This allows you to limit the total outgoing video bitrate. So if you are a director and you have 10 guests watching your broadcast, you might only have 5 megabits of upload. And it's hard for you to judge exactly how much upload you're using if you just say everyone download 1 megabit. So by having a limit total bitrate, you can ensure that no one's going to force you to go over your total. And so everyone is going to get their bitrate lowered equally as you reach that maximum.
Interesting. I'd actually like to see, are those available in the stats? Because I think I read there's also updated stats page or your statisticals on how things are going.
Yeah, well, the stats have definitely been enhanced. Lots of fixes have been added there. You have more stats there. There's always going to be more stats. What comes to mind, there was an issue with a remote monitoring stat where I was showing packets lost per second, but that wasn't really helpful for users because it wasn't reflecting a percentage, and most users are looking for a percentage value. So I switched that over to be a packets lost per total packet sent. So you have a percentage value now.
All right, interesting. What's next on the list for version 18 that you want to share?
Okay, there is a share website button added to the director's room. This is something that's more mainstream, interesting. I can demo it.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm going to create
let's do it.
I'll just give it a random name. And I'll bring in a random guest just so we have something. Now we show up there. Now at the bottom, we see that there's a button called Share a Website. And this is useful because you can share a website. And this is actually a
That
YouTube
is
video.
pretty cool. I like that.
So you can share websites that way, and then you can stop it, and it stops. Now this is not screen sharing. This is actually sharing a website, and that's compatible with Twitch, YouTube. Any website will really work that supports embedded iframes, but it also supports Meshcast, which is another one of my projects that offers free broadcasting service. So you can create a stream here, copy this link, share this website with a guest, and now they can see the output of this stream. If you have, let's say, 30 people in a room, and you don't have the CPU or bandwidth to broadcast to everyone at high quality, you can use a service like this to reduce the load by using a server to broadcast to those users.
Okay, first of all, I didn't know about that website and testing it out. Obviously, I'm going to have a lot of fun playing around with it and seeing how it goes together and sharing that with the audience. That's actually really interesting. I love that embed. I think so far, I know we just got into it, but that is an awesome feature I'm going to have to utilize.
Cool. Yeah, there's more and more people who are trying to treat VDO Ninja as a like conferencing tool or some sort of small scale production where they're doing maybe a D&D board game or Magic the Gathering, and they have 20 people come together and they kind of create a show for their members. But that puts a lot of stress on that director. And a tool like Meshcast, or it works with any third-party service as well. You can use a server to dramatically reduce that load on that director.
Nice, nice. Anything else on that, or what's the next thing for version 18? Because I'm going to take this down at the top of the list. Actually, what was the website that you just had?
Oh, that particular one was called meshcast.io. Meshcast.io.
Yes, audience, I did take notes because I want to play around with it later.
It's designed for under 100 viewers at the moment. It's a free service. Go nuts. There are third-party services out there that are paid that will let you do millions of viewers if you need to, but the cost of those services are usually prohibitive, which is why I've tried to make this one free.
Gotcha. Nice. I like that. Though I have to tell you, and I think we talked about this, I was it version 16 or 17, that the dock is movable there on the director panel. The little things that really kind of make everything unique or enjoyable, and I'm glad that's movable. If you think about like in some of the Zoom stuff, and I'm not knocking Zoom, but I think it's locked in there, and I can't move it sometimes, and I need to click on that one button that's behind it.
It was the best solution I could find to a problem where sometimes people said it was blocking them, and so just allowing them to move it seems like a solution. There's a lot of weird quirks.
There is, and I think I'll make a video of like the top 10 hidden things of OBS Ninja. Now, VDO Ninja, though I do like the play on words there. So what's next on version 18?
Well, since we're in the director's room, what I'll probably do is enable my camera. And normally the way you broadcast to an audience is you enable your virtual camera, and when the guest then joins, they see your virtual camera. And now sometimes this is kind of low quality, and you might want to increase the bit rate. we can check the bitrate with the stats control click. And we can see that the resolution in this case is probably going to hit 360p max at a bitrate of around 400 megs. If we wanted to increase that bitrate, so it was higher than 400 or 500 kilobits per second per guest, we can now go in here and we can dynamically change that maximum bitrate value. So now if I increase this, the guests will see a higher quality stream. So now the resolution is at 720 because we raised the bit rate level. And we can dynamically lower that, maybe to something like 22 kilobits per second, and then the quality will drop.
Oh yeah, you can tell the quality. Real quick, for the stats, what was the shortcut on Windows? And I'll have to figure out the shortcut for Mac.
On Mac, it's Command left click, and on Windows, it's Control left click.
All right.
So you can click on your own video here as a director to see all the stats that viewers are seeing. Or
I would go and click on mine now, but Chrome will freeze. We were playing with tabs earlier, and my video will just glow, and I'll be stuck in a weird position. So I'll play with that later.
Okay. So yeah, that was a really requested feature. Now that if you crank it to 2000 kilobits per second, it does cause a lot more CPU load on the director. So you really need to be careful of your system to push it higher.
Gotcha. All right, what's next on the list for version 18 release?
Okay. Something that I'm going to be working more and more towards is this concept of adding custom styles, custom layouts to the scenes. Some of the features that people wanted at the moment were things like fade in abilities. So the video fades in when a new video is added. Right? I don't know if you saw that, but we can make it a little longer, 500 milliseconds, 5,000 milliseconds, until the video fades in.
Oh, okay. It came earlier. Actually, I was looking at you thinking it was going to fade in for you, but it was actually the virtual cam. Okay, I gotcha. I like that. That's wow. I can see that being added to OBS or other party tools where you're adding in, you're fading in. Don't even have to control it into OBS. There you go.
So you'd use it in combination with the scene, I guess, primarily.
Yep.
But that's one cool option. Then we have another function called cover. And in this case, it stretches the video to fill the screen. And I'll revert that just so you have some contrast. Right now, it's fitting the video. If you want to cover the entire screen, you cover. And the reason that's important is if you have multiple guests in a scene, you don't want to perhaps have any background showing. That will make sure there's little, if not any, background. It's something.
Oh, there we go. Now the clarity picked back up. You didn't have to make any changes. It was pixelating for a little bit as I was getting, but then it completely cleared up.
Okay. We have things like margin. Again, if you have multiple videos, this will become more valuable. But if I join as another guest, you see there's now margins around the video.
Okay, so kind of separating everybody so you're not on top of it.
Absolutely. And so seeing with version 19, the next version, maybe version 20, you'll have the option to create custom style sheets, custom layouts, and you can then apply those to your scenes, and you'll be able to not only use these effects, but you'll be able to change the position and size of each video as you want. So that's going to be a pretty big update. But for now, we're just kind of taking baby steps to that.
Now, a quick question. I know we have scenes and we can do a lot of manipulation with the scenes. What has anybody thought about or suggested? And you were talking about doing the manipulation, but what about moving people to certain positions and locking them on your position as an end user? Maybe I want this person and that person. I know you integrated the active speaker portion, but maybe I want this person up here, this person to the left down, and I want to take a screenshot and post it on social media or whatever. But What about moving people around, or is that of any value?
Well, moving people around is a huge value. Um, being able to create custom layouts will come next, and that will allow you to low level kind of create those scenes. What will probably happen in a version after that, or a version 2 after that, I'll let you have more of an interface where you can do that through a graphics user interface rather than through a low level. But I need to kind of build a foundation.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. But yeah, that's a great feature. Something that I'm offering users a solution for currently there is this concept of multiple scenes, where you can treat each scene like a guest slot. So we added scene 1, scene 2, all the way up to scene 8. And we also now support custom labeled scenes. So for example, if I take this scene link here and I create a custom scene saying Steve's scene, go back to the control room, at the bottom, we'll see that there is a new button called scene Steve's scene. And we can add people to it and remove them from that.
Oh, now will that show up as an option for every single user that gets added? Like, say I join. Do I have that option for seeing Steve's scene at the bottom, or is that just unique to you because that's your link? I mean,
Well, that was a scene I created. It had my name on it. But if I
yep.
do scene equals John, go down back here, you'll see that John's been
Oh,
added.
okay, nice.
So the idea here would be you can create slots, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4 in, let's say, OBS. And then when you want to add someone to that slot, instead of creating a solo link and copy pasting the stream ID in, you can just say add the user to slot 1, and they'll appear in that position, and you can then remove them and move them back. So this, you get fine grained control over positioning, but you're not tied to any particular video being in a single slot. So I can have Steve added to this slot, and then I can have you join, and I can add you to John's slot. And if I need to remove you, or you're rejoining and you have a new link, I can add you back in without needing to change OBS at all.
You answered my question. I saw you click on it. I can be to multiple scenes. You clicked on Steve and John, and all the scenes, and that could be like the host. You're in all the scenes, but the next person or the other person speaking, you're only in this scene and that. I really like that feature.
It's a little bit on the heavy side for CPU. If you have like 20 scenes, you have lots of videos probably going on if you push it too much. So it's just something to be careful of. It's very powerful, but just due to the way OBS is kind of using browser sources, each time you use a scene, it's a new browser source, and that does create more resources and more CPU. I think once we move to the custom scenes, where you can create your own custom scenes, you'll be able to reduce the amount of load quite a bit, and we'll be able to have proper slots rather than treating scenes as slots.
Gotcha. Now I know this isn't part of version 18 because you released this, I think, in 17. The scene 3, scene 4, scene 5. Is that just simple as doing S3 in there into the browser, or are you really typing out scene? I haven't played around. I really want to show everybody the passion.
It'd be scene 3, for example. So when I say scene 3, we appear there.
Okay.
So I said S3, but it's just short form for scene equals 3. When this project started out, it was I had it set to some integers just to keep things simple.
Yep.
But people have requested custom names, so this is more or less at this point kind of legacy. But it's compact, so that's why I still keep it.
Still keep it around. I have to tell everybody, and I did a video on it, on creating your own custom URL, like an invite. And I do that to Steve and myself, and we all join OBS, and I don't have to do anything after the fact. that's something I want to show everybody again. And it's really simple. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. It's nothing really great and wonderful. I literally just plug in some values. I know, I think it was a year ago, maybe a little bit less, 6 months ago, you changed the scene number because I was doing scene 1 and now it's like scene 0. And I had to quickly, I want to say rewrite code. I had to redo my spreadsheet. But anyway, that's where a lot of the scenes come in handy, and they have grown so much. And I really like the custom scenes that you've created below.
Awesome.
All right, what's next on version 18? There's a lot of cool features here, and I want to say I'm geeking out about it. I want to play around some more.
Okay. There's been lots of quality of life improvements. So if you change settings here and you refresh, I save the settings, right?
Oh my God. That's a huge thing. Normally you have to like relog in or you refresh or come back in as the director. Now, thankfully you can go back to your same room, but that's a great, I know people think that's so small, but that is a huge add.
Yeah. This was originally added to help people learn how to use the app. But now people are getting more and more dependent on these toggles. So we're using local storage to keep track of the settings. And so when you refresh the director's room, they are reset. So that's a useful tool. If things have problems, you can just refresh and keep going. Okay. There's some more advanced things. One thing that users have been doing you have remote musicians using VDO Ninja a lot. The latency might be 30 to 40 milliseconds for audio. But I had an interesting request to enable remote MIDI. And so I've enabled MIDI transport. So you can have a guest or a viewer or a guest or a publisher now transmit all their MIDI data to another user. And in that case, you can kind of remotely play a keyboard or remotely use some sort of stream deck. And you can use VDO Ninja to be that intermediary. And the latency, because it's peer-to-peer, is virtually non-existent.
Oh my God, I'm thinking of so many cool things that I am controlling somebody else's stream deck to put them on mute. No, I'm just joking. Or I just remember back in the 90s when you were messing around with maybe your parents and opening the CD drawer on your computer back and forth, and they were freaking out why this thing's opening up. Now I can go ahead and click on it and no, it's not a security issue, but I'm just thinking of all the fun tricks that we could have.
But both ends need to enable
Yep.
it to work. It's not going to by default allow you to write. See, but there's a command MIDI in, MIDI out, and you can turn those flags on. Where I see this is really exciting is if you are a piano player, let's say, or you're a drummer, you could rely on perhaps MIDI signals instead of audio signals to jam together, and it's going to reduce the latency down to only a few milliseconds, which will make playing together across the internet pretty exciting. Niche, but I'm pretty excited about the possibilities there.
I think we need to talk about this one just a little bit more, not now, but like really in depth. You talked about musicians for it. I can see this, being huge and putting it out there in this day and age with everybody kind of home or working from home now. And I read an article that a lot of the musicians are recording their stuff, uploading it. The other person's recording it next to them, and they're just tying it all together as if they're in the same room. This would allow you to kind of do it together and have some of those commands and help out through it.
Yeah, you can remotely control devices this way without having to install any additional software. If you already have a MIDI controller, you can just feed the data to that. For sure.
Steve, I got to play with you on that at a later date and time. I have a stream deck here. I'm going to have you, we're going to enable and see how this works. And maybe you can play around with some things.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Okay. Next on the list, we have the tally light system kind of re-envisioned. There was a tally light system for OBS previously. It was very subtle, where we had a green or red outline around the video when you went live or not. We improved that. So now there's a little bit of a sign being very explicit that you're either ready, standby, or on air. And this only triggers for your guests when they're loaded into OBS. And it lets them know whether they're in the preview window visible, whether they're not visible, or whether OBS is recording. These tally lights could probably still use some more tweaking and user feedback. But if you see them in version 18 and you're wondering what they are, it's to provide your guest some feedback on whether they're live or not.
That was actually one of my first questions before we click record. I'm like, Steve, there's a standby button here. What does that mean? And we were getting into, I'm like, oh, right, hold on a second. We got to save this for version 18 release and the recording. But all these little improvements, I think they make a huge difference.
Absolutely. There's so many little things that require polish for this to work smoothly. And that polish is actually very, very time consuming. So version 18 takes some time to get out, but most of the work has been kind of very small features, lots of polish that's hard to really describe.
What else is on the list? Anything else you want to share with version 18?
Yeah, I'll say one last thing. This hasn't been requested by many people, but there have been occasional times users wanted to do, let's say, an air-gapped solution. So maybe they're running VDO Ninja on a LAN without any internet. There were certain systems in place that were still kind of required to help facilitate that peer-to-peer connectivity. That system, those systems are now all available, and in version 18 you can make use of them. So if you wanted to deploy VDO Ninja on a Raspberry Pi and take it out in the middle of the desert and use it there, you now have all the tools and all the functionality available to you to do that.
Well, I have a Raspberry Pi, but I don't have a desert near me. And so that would be a trip. I think that's going to be a YouTube video, Jon Myer Desert VDO Ninja. Does it work? It's a lot of packing to go out. Need a monitor. But anyway, that's actually interesting. I think we talked about having VDO Ninja on a Raspberry Pi before. I did an awesome video on how to install it on AWS. Does that still apply?
If you're on AWS, you probably don't need to worry about these settings. It's gonna work just fine. Yep. These settings are for more people who want to kind of go completely off the grid. The internet, having the internet makes it a lot easier. This is a web protocol designed for the web, but if you want to completely disconnect, there are some systems in place like stun servers and such like that you need to deploy, but all those systems are now available. And I've made some available in my own GitHub, but there's also publicly accessible options available that you can use.
Wow. Pretty cool on everything you've done for version 18. Now, keep in mind, everyone, OBS is being rebranded to VDO Ninja. Don't worry. Steve has fully indicated that it will remain free. I don't see Steve taking or changing this in any which way. I really appreciate the product. Like I said, I use it. I'm actually using it again later today for another awesome video recording. I use it for everything. So thanks for putting in so much work for it and making it free for everyone.
No problem, John. Thank you so much.
All right, see, before we wrap up, how do people contact you? Where do they go? Where's some information? I know you have Discord, Reddit. Let's join. Let's grow this community.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Because of the name change, some of the links will probably get redirected in the future. But currently, my preferred place to contact me is on Discord. There's a very strong active community on Discord. So if I'm not there, there's going to be a community member there to help out. The invite link for our Discord server is discord.obs.ninja, but it should soon be discord.vdo.ninja. it will re-forward you anyways. So there's no problem there. But yeah, you can hit me up on that. That's preferred. There is a Reddit community. You can check it out. The subreddit is VDO Ninja. The older Reddit is still up at OBS Ninja. Lots of support material there. There's a GitHub. GitHub, it's under github.com. Actually, you could probably do github.obs.ninja, and in the future, github.VDO Ninja will take you there, and you can do issue requests. And if you need to contact me over email because you perhaps aren't familiar with social media, you can hit me up at steve@seguin.email.
Perfect. Now, everybody, I will put the links in the description below, as I always do. And speaking of redirecting, if you go to jonmyer.com, it will actually redirect to the awsblogger.com. So I did purchase that domain just as well. Like Steve said, I might switch them around. I don't know yet. I think we're going through rebranding phase right now.
Yeah, awesome. Together, I love it.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. All right, Steve, thank you so much for giving us a quick rundown of version 18 and the release notes. I'm going to get this video wrapped up and to you as soon as possible because I know you released it. Anything else, everybody reach out to us. Steve is awesome to work with. He's always looking for more information and feedback and working on cool products, including the other one that I just wrote down that I might have to do a video on just because I like the stuff that Steve puts together and enjoy it.
Thank you, Jon.
All right, Steve, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye, man.
See ya.